Here we are going live. Good afternoon to all, and welcome again to Tell Me Over Coffee. Our guest of today is the multilingual Dutch, English, German, and Spanish Dutch-born filmmaker. He got his bachelor's degree in arts at the Academie Minerva Beeldende Kunst en Vormgeving, Groningen. I hope I said it right. And, thank you. And later, a master's degree in arts by the AKV St. Jules in Breda. After a short and roaring career in fine arts with the arts group Peak and the WOUTER Jansen, he started to work in cinema on art department, and sometime after that as an independent director-producer of spaghetti westerns. He is a member of the International Production Designers Collective and has been a judge on various international film festivals. Currently, he is working on a Spanish short western, El amor tenía un precio, and a feature film, My Smile is a Rifle. His fascination for the genre is because the western has its own structure or set of cliches. The one-liners and the shootouts, for instance. This offers him a nice structure to play with. Furthermore, the scenery of the Far West is ideal to work out existential thoughts such as, how does man act on the outskirts of civilization when there is no law around? In film, he is known for his short film, Draw Your Gun, internationally awarded spaghetti western about a con man who falsifies wanted posters, and Water, a short western about a gold digger who found a gigantic golden nugget. He has also and did art direction or set dressing in the following commercials, international films and series for Google, McDonald's, Mercedes, Endemol, Blue Circle, Crim BV, In Case of Fire, Xar, Pumpkin Film, Comedy Central, TBWA, Doppler, Talent United, NL Film, Waterland Film, Tom DeMole's Production, SPS Productions, Key Film, Legacy Film, Caviar, amongst others. Please welcome WOUTER Jansen.
WOUTER Jansen.
WOUTER Jansen.
Carlos WOUTER.
WOUTER, okay. Carlos WOUTER, okay. Well, WOUTER Jansen, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let's start straight away with, how did it all start? Is anyone in your family part of this industry?
My father used to make video 8 films, 8 millimeter, because my grandparents gave them a camera because we lived in Kenya at the time. But my father started to making some documentary things about the giraffes and all the things there. And then later we did 2 feature films, small, with our family as actors. So that was my first influence to do something with film.
Why Western?
About, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I went for my birthday to the Ardennes. It's a small mountain area in Belgium, with my friends. And the second year after that, I thought, let's not just drink beer in a cabin, but do something active. Let's shoot a movie. And then I thought, why not a Western? I was watching a lot of Westerns at the time, because a normal film sometimes would bother me because it would be too much looking like my work. And because I was with guys in their 30s, they all can relate to a gunslinger, or the most of them can actually.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Tell us about your project, El amor tenía un precio. What is it about? And when do you plan shooting? Where? And can you tell us who the casts are?
I want to shoot in Almeria. Almeria, Andalusia is very famous for the old westerns of Sergio Leone. You have a little desert there. You have all the towns, the people of Tabernas, which is the town in Almeria near the desert, have always been very nice to me, and I think it would be a great place to shoot. And the short I wrote is about a prostitute who gets kidnapped by a gang. And this gang, she's playing these gang members out with her sexer, but then on a certain moment she's climbing on to the leader of the gang, but then it turns out to be gay, so she has a bit of a problem.
Wow. Do you know, can you tell us who the actors are going to be, if you have already casted them?
I have a few in mind, but I have to see also for availability. So I'm not totally sure, and first I need to have my dates.
Okay. In which language is it going to be shot?
For sure in Spanish, but maybe also in English. Or maybe we just do a lousy dub in English.
Okay.
Western
yeah. Is this your day job, being a filmmaker?
I work in art department to earn my money, and actually, yeah, and I do commercials or series, mostly in Holland. I did one film in Spain. I'm eager to work more in Spain, but for now it's Holland. And I spent a big amount of time for my spaghetti westerns, but it doesn't pay me anything. It costs me a lot.
It does, it does. But do you work for an agency as in the art department, or do you work freelance?
I work freelance.
Okay. And
call me or producers.
How? Well, that's the question is because with all this COVID situation, how has this affected your freelance job?
In March and April, there wasn't any work at all. And this summer in Holland, they're shooting quite a lot. I think they're catching up for what they didn't do before. And I think they also do things more early because they're afraid of a second wave of Corona.
Yeah. Well, excuse me?
We had pretty much work this summer.
Okay. There's a question because I would like, since you're a freelancer, I would like to ask you just to see if there is a difference between Spain and Holland. Here in Spain, when the confinement started, obviously this was for everyone, even in Holland and France or anywhere. It was just a surprise. Out of the blue, everyone had to stay home. I mean, it didn't give you time to do anything else or to organize anything. But the thing was that, for instance, here, the Spanish government was taking into consideration and moving quite fast to help all the people who had been working, not in the industry, not in our industry, but in other industries, right? At least to have a minimum pay or something to survive, right? A surviving pay. Then, obviously, all the associations of our industry started claiming that there were filmmakers, actors, scripts, writers, everyone who all of a sudden they were out of a job because they had to stay home, and how were they supposed to be living off? So that's when, after that happened, that's when our government decided that they were going to give us a survivor's help, right? Financial help, so we could at least go and buy our food. How has that been in Holland for you guys?
I think they organized it pretty well. Actually, in March they set up in Spain we would call it paro, ayudas.
Okay.
And without any test, we got something like €1,000, or when you have a family, 1,500 a month.
Oh, wow.
To live on, and that's still. Yeah, they make the ways to get this money a bit more hard every time because they set it up very fastly. But also, I think it's Generation, it has makes sense, because if they wouldn't do it, everybody would be unemployed and getting into debts, and that would cost society also for
True.
administration stuff, and to get the people back to work, it would cost way
Mhm.
more.
True, true. That's why us here in Spain, since we are having the second wave, they haven't done a full confinement. They are just doing local confinements so others can keep working and make the wheels spin. Because otherwise, to have a full confinement again would be disaster for the whole country. So that they should have thought of that on
That's
the first.
also that's the big difference. Here in Holland, you don't see anybody walking with face masks, and they never did a real quarantine, confinamiento here. Okay, the bars closed and the discos are still closed, but it looks pretty normal compared to Spain, where you have to wear your mask everywhere, even if you're on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we hope for the best that this situation will end sooner than later. In which language do you consider that your creations work best? Dutch, English, German, or Spanish?
It depends a bit on the context. El amor tenía un precio. I wrote in English, but with friends I translated it. But
Hmm.
it's also situated near the border of Mexico, so Spanish makes some sense in this film, and I think it's an interesting world, because it's a very big world of people who speak Spanish.
Hmm.
But for Westerns in general, it would be English, and Dutch I wouldn't do.
Okay. I assume that, as you said, it's going to be the story takes place in the border of Mexico. I assume that the Spanish you are going to be looking for is Mexican and not Spanish, European Spanish.
That's true. Yes, I should be. I should have some Mexican person looking over it, I think.
Hmm. No, it's great. I mean, it does make sense. Or as you said, you can shoot it in English and just dub it later.
Yeah, or opposite. I think it could be. I'm planning to really shoot it, and maybe we shoot it in two languages, but that depends
Mhm.
on how the production will go. Because if you set up the lights, the camera, it's only depending on the actors and the director, the concentration.
Mhm. Um, okay. It's just a quick question. I don't want to spend too much time on this question, but it is important for the industry. I'm talking in general. We're talking about the parity in the industry behind the cameras. Okay, behind the scenes, behind cameras. In Spain, only um, about a 24% of the positions of responsibility, such as director, doc, things like this, are held by women. The rest are held by men. How is it in Holland?
I think in general it's less, but DOPs are for sure are more men. But producers or directors, I think it's probably a little bit more men, but in general it would be 60-40% or something.
Hmm. What do you think? What do you think needs to be done to that we can have? Now we're talking about generally speaking, worldwide speaking, not Holland or Spain, just in general. What do you think needs to be done, or what can we do to make this equal?
I haven't any clue.
You have no clue. Okay.
No.
Okay. What do you think about um, professions in jobs in this industry that some people have made feminine and masculine, such as production only for men, makeup and hair only for women?
Well, production in Holland is a lot of production is done by women,
Mhm.
but makeup and hair, it's basically women, and I think that's a bit ridiculous. I did some wardrobe styling for Disney, and they were pretty happy with me, and I think I did a good job. Um, but and in my own department, art is quite 50-50. But
Okay.
sometimes I get the thing that, well, we want something stylish and we want a woman, and then I'm a bit confused always.
Oh yeah, it is because as I mean, it's like you said, it's an art department. It's not it doesn't have it's not a sexual thing. It's an art department. It's not a feminine art department or a masculine art department. It's just an art department. It's just like makeup and hair. It's just makeup and hair. So I don't see why a man can't do it because we're talking about imagination and we're talking about a sensibility. We're not talking about whether you're more man because you do it what in a man way. How do you comb a hair in a man way or in a woman way? No, you just do the hair. So yes, you are right. Okay. Besides Western, which I know you love a lot, what are your favorite genres as a filmmaker, and which ones are your favorite as a spectator?
I like, yeah, more cult films, psychedelic films. I think that's not really sort of a genre, but works by Jim Jarmusch, which actually also made a western. Werner Herzog, but it's not this particular genre, I think.
Mm-hmm. That as a filmmaker or as a spectator?
As a spectator, um, I don't know how to watch as a filmmaker.
You don't know how to watch as a filmmaker.
No, I
Okay.
watch as a spectator. Okay, sometimes I do, but in general, I just let it come to me and watch it.
Okay. Um, as I said, you are a very fan of Western films. Have you ever thought of doing any other type of film that is not a Western?
Yes, a pirate film. I was planning a pirate film after my first Western, but then I thought it's too much of a hassle to shoot on the water. It's very hard. As long as you, well, I would like to do it because I think with some creativity I could go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of rolled into the Western genre, and maybe one time I want to make something of an adventure film in the way my father used to make his films with us as children.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you like to do when you are not directing or writing or editing or creating?
Basically, I don't edit. I let my people edit for me. I know
Mm-hmm.
a bit of editing, but it's all a bit knowledge from my past.
Mm-hmm.
I love to be in the nature, hike a lot, and I make my own furniture, fix stuff, this kind of stuff. It's a bit related to art department also.
Uh-huh. Do you have any pets?
No,
No. What animals do you like?
I love cats and I love birds. I think birds are everywhere and they're nicely free and natural. That's a nice thing with them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And giraffes, they're also great. Giraffes, they are like from another planet.
Yeah,
I was
giraffe. Yeah.
actually in a zoo, and the
Mm-hmm.
giraffes were my most favorite.
Your favorites. I know that you've been traveling quite a bit. What country would you set for living for the rest of your life?
Andalusia.
Andalusia. You like Andalusia?
Yes, it's great. I like the people. It's a bit like the Spanish say, Torre debajo de Madrid está África. It's a bit of Africa, but also the people are very open and friendly. But
Yeah.
also we have all the points going, which for a European country. Yeah. are
Yeah,
there.
but out of all Andalusia, they are quite different. For instance, Sevilla, Malaga, Cádiz, Jaén, Córdoba, Granada. They are very different between each other. Which part of Andalusia do you like most?
I love Malaga and Cadiz, but I think that's also one of the parts of why Andalusia is great because you have snow, desert, mountains, green meadows, beach, sort of a lot combined in a very small piece of ground.
Yeah, that's true. Um, what actors would you like to work with, and why?
I don't have really a big wish list. There are two Malaganian actors I'm thinking now to shoot my film with, but it's because they are the characters I need. I pick actors more because of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
because they fit the characters, then they're good actors or not. I used to work with very lousy actors with my friends, and from
Mm-hmm.
that on, I got to extras from the set, which said they are actors but mm, weren't too equipped with acting skills, but they had great faces. And now I want to work a bit more with the good actors because I think there's more I can make my films better with that.
And can we know who you are thinking of?
I'm thinking of Rafa Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit Bordeaux, but he can be very nice for one of my parts.
Mm-hmm.
The rest I keep secret.
How about actresses? You will need an actress, so.
Yes, I have two. I'm talking to two actresses, and they both have their advantages, but
Mhm.
also it needs to connect with the time we want to shoot.
Yeah.
And sometimes an argument for an actress is not the best or the most honorable argument.
Mm-hmm.
If an actress is more famous, it could get more airplay for your film or would get more festivals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it doesn't necessarily is the best actress for the part.
True.
And, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. In
Mm-hmm.
general, it has to be a good actress, but or actor. But the most important is to fit the character.
Okay. And how about the language part?
Mm,
I mean, we do have good actors in Spain who do not speak English.
I want to shoot in Spanish, so that's not the biggest problem. Yeah, and I think, well, depends also if an actress really wants, you should try to conquer the language and use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a Western, it's, I don't know if it's, for a Spanish, it would be ridiculous if the actors have Spanish accent in English. The Dutch people, with my film Dry Your Gun, I got
Mm-hmm.
some quite a known actor. He was watching my film and he was like complaining about all the Dutch accents.
Okay.
But when I put my film into the rest of the world, the Spanish or the American, they don't really care and they don't hear it's a Dutch accent. So you have to take it a bit broader than that, I think.
Mm-hmm. What are the three qualities that every filmmaker should have, according to you?
I think originality, imagination, and persistence.
Mm-hmm. How about actors?
Well, what I said before, I think an actor should fit a part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's, I think, imagination to connect also with the other actors, um, and to also they also what I noticed when I started, I used to just take my friends for actors, but then if I would put them in front of a camera, they would block because they would be very shy. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something also pretty needed for an actor, not to be
Obviously,
shy.
professional actor will not have that problem because he's a professional actor or a professional actress. That's the
Yes,
difference between actors and people who are not actors.
that's true. Yeah, but it's a part which is also important. But
Yeah, well, it is. The part isn't, I mean, it's definitely important, and there has to be a connection between the actor and the character. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But it is important that it's an actor that is trying to connect to a character and not just anyone trying to connect to a character.
hmm okay, I understand. No, no, but like for in Malaga, you have Banderas is there, but I wouldn't cast him for my next short. Though my girlfriend would say, "Oh, I love him," but I don't think, and I think it's a great actor,
Mhm.
but he cannot be this character I wanted. I want in my film. But this is.
I understand that. I mean, there's as I always say, there's always an actor for a character, and
Mhm.
there's always a character for an actor. What I'm saying, because I'm seeing this lately a lot here in Spain, is that you can see posts on the internet, Facebook, Instagram, that they are looking for people for a film, and not necessary to have experience to be an actor. I am not. I don't agree with that, because besides of being part of the character, you have to have the technical notions of an actor on how
Yeah.
to act and where your place is on set and what to do. That cannot be given by your neighbor, because your neighbor, let's say the character is a guy who is about 90 kilos, has a huge beard, and your neighbor, he's like that, but he's not an actor.
You could be lucky with your neighbor, and he could be talented. But in general, I agree. But only on my last film, I got to work with Raúl Copier,
Mm-hmm.
and he was telling me like, "Oh, I can play it like this or like this or like this." I would be like, "Just play it. Who do I have to think about it?" That was really an eye opener. What actors, professional actors, can do, because before that, I would work with my friends, which so much
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
theater experience, but they just play it and they don't like a role like a professional actor. It would take like a lot of entrances and think it more through and giving giving more depth to the role.
True. That's the difference. So we both agree on that, and that's great. Um, Knowing what you know about the industry and how it works, because it's not a very easy industry, not in Spain, not anywhere else. What would you tell your past you, and what would you tell your future you?
I would tell them both to shut up more times and not be open about everything you think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of a flap out, and a lot of times towards directors, and I think that can be pretty hard for actors, for the directors, because they have other things on their mind than set dressing. But
Okay.
on the other hand, it's the way you are, so it's also good to sometimes to not always be shut down.
Yeah. And what do you think about the relationship between director and actors?
Mm, I don't really have a big thing on that. I think you should be working nicely together, and what's yeah.
But don't you
But
think that the more connected the actor and the director are, the better outcome
yeah,
of the scene they're going to be?
I'm a big fan of Klaus Kinski and Werner Herzog,
Hmm.
and they were not that connected. Well, they have the stories about directing with a gun on the set, and I think the performance the films they did together are great, uh,
Okay.
even though they're troubled relation.
Hmm. Um, it is known, as I said, that this industry is hardworking, persistent, having the right contacts, and loads of luck. Do you have any advice for an aspiring filmmaker?
I would start to work. I never worked for free a lot, but in Holland it's quite common that you start to work for free
Mhm.
for very low wages to get your way into the industry. But I think that kind of works pretty good, but you have to be persistent and you have to think also to shut up a lot. Like I said about my advice to my former and my future
Mhm.
me, you might be right a lot of times, but if you're 30% of the times that you are going to say your opinion about something, you are only 30% right and 70% not, it's a waste of time. And that's a lot of times on a film set, you don't have the time to start an argument or so yeah, that's my
Mhm.
advice.
Um, okay. Well, can you talk about your feature film? My Smile is a Rifle. What is it about?
It's a bit the same theme as Draw Your Gun. It's about identity.
Uh-huh.
In Draw Your Gun, you have a guy which makes false wanted posters. So he basically he takes the identity of the other people and puts it in a new context. It's a bit related to like the fake news things, or sometimes you have lynch parties on Facebook. It has a lot of similarities, and I want to make that a bit more bigger. And so
Mhm.
there's going to be masked cowboys, and it's also going to be drug related. The cowboys are going to sniff
Mhm.
gold dust, and that's also because I love making westerns, but also on the lower side of society. Where all the people in my films are not the heroes. It's a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, it's European Western, so they're all losers, and it's not
Mm.
like an American good guy with a white cap.
Um, would you like to add anything else? For instance, when do you plan to shoot the feature film?
I first have to finish the script, then I want to take it to the Goyas. I want
Mhm.
to take it pretty far. I think um, the last one had the qualities, but
Mhm.
this can be a bit has a bit more possibilities, and also with the film sets of Almeria, and better actors all can
Mhm.
elevate for a higher level. And meanwhile, I'm writing on my script for the future, so I don't know. I don't have a hurry to produce my films. I think I want to shoot 3 or 4 more, and then I will be satisfied.
Okay. Do you play any instruments?
No. Oh
No.
yes, Castanuelas.
Really? With you?
I dance Berdiales.
Oh, I didn't know that. Um, what is something you cannot live without?
Oxygen.
Okay.
No, yeah, oxygen. I think.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any hidden talents?
If I would know, they would be hidden.
Okay. Um, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
I don't know. I think I will have made 1 or 2 films more, and I'll be living quite easily.
Okay. You would retire from the industry?
No, not yet. No, as long as I need money, then I will keep doing in the industry. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe I will get another way to get my money,
Mm-hmm.
but I still want to make my films.
What is something that you cannot stand?
Um, what's the word in English? In Dutch, we would say injustice.
Oh, Injustice.
Yes.
Okay. Do you do anything?
Hmm?
Do you do anything to help Injustice?
I try to keep things fair, and a lot of times, when everybody is silent, I am the one which is going to break the silence and say, "Hey, this isn't the fair thing to do."
Uh-huh. Do you are you part of any association besides the one I mentioned earlier?
No, 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 no. I just signed a petition for the weekends in Holland.
Mm-hmm.
To get paid a little more to shoot in the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with the Atricisto, the set dressers club. Um, I think so. That this part in the industry, I'm trying to level. And a lot of times, I have big fights about the extra hours with the
Yeah.
producers. And I know a lot of my colleagues, they don't count them because they want to keep working. When I
Mm-hmm.
think we agree on extra hours, and it's then they have to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah.
Have you ever thought in acting in any of your films?
I did in one short western. I let a friend of mine direct because I wanted to experience what an actor feels.
And
A lot of things I also tried out on myself, and
you like it?
it was hard because we were shooting extreme close-ups uh, in the snow, which was rather cold, and I had a big problem to keep my eyes open, not to water my eyes, because that was kind of interesting. But it wasn't with a big crew, so there wasn't that big of amount of pressure on it. And I'm quite used to speak to large crowds, so I don't have this pressure, not a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, but sometimes it's not a matter of the crew and the pressure, but of the scene itself. Like you said, in the snow, it's very cold. Um, and an actor, all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe the actor has to be without a coat, and it's really freezing because he's very cold. Or I don't know, it's very, very hot. And for instance, in my case, when we shot the one of the scenes, it was in the restrooms in an office, and there was no air conditioning, no windows, and it was really difficult because we were sweating. The Steadicam was sweating, everyone was sweating, and it was very difficult to keep on shooting and just drying all the sweat. So sometimes it's the conditions that you work which make the scene difficult, not really the actor itself, because the character is not working. No, it's the conditions. So I mean, I'm glad that you did work as an actor, because at least you already know how an actor feels.
it's yeah, and with my family films from when I was 6 or something, my parents would put me the whole family behind or
Mhm.
in front of the camera actually, and there were some scenes my brother with 8 years old he would shoot my parents.
Wow. Um, Tell us about Draw Your Gun. How was it shooting? How was all the festivals that it's gone through, and all the awards that you've been given for this film?
It's a very strange film because we shot it in 2015. Then we were editing pretty fastly, an editor and me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I thought, let's change the structure. And then it all went very slow. And in the end, the editor didn't want to do the project anymore, but he just didn't want to tell me and didn't want to lose it. So I was waiting for him. Might have been waiting for me. So it took us 2 years to finally finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't get to any festivals, especially in Almeria, which I expected it to go because it's a Western festival. So then the year after that, all of a sudden we won the Almeria Western Film Festival, and then that's also a bit of the luck you need to have. And then I put it to a lot of other festivals. And we got invited in Noia, which is a very great short film festival, Mostra de Curtas Noia, where we would spend 1 week eating and having hotels and meeting other directors. So that gave me a lot of sense to write in for a lot of festivals more. And then you will, if your film is good, they will select you. And I think also because of the other selections, and it's a bit of it works like that. You can continue, and it's going to grow.
I've, as I said early, introducing you, you have been jury for quite a bit of international festivals. I've heard that you are going to be jury for a Spanish festival not in very long time.
Yes, the Fixon in San Roque. Forward. Last year we won the best DOP there, and it was a very lovely festival. So I'm looking forward to go there and to see the films. I think high quality last year.
Do you know when the Fixon is due? What day and what month?
If I'm correctly, it's 28th of November.
28th of November. Oh, that's great. Well, anyone that you want to see voted in the festival as jury, well, he's going to be in San Roque, 28, 29, I think it is, of November of this year. I think, well, there are quite a bit of festivals going around in Spain, but for me, that one is also a bit of a special festival because I was a jury last year, and that's where we met. And it was quite nice to be in that festival together. Well, I have no more questions. Would you like to add anything else? Would you like to talk about anything else?
No. No.
No?
No.
No. Okay then. Okay. Well, Wouter, it's been a pleasure sharing this afternoon with you, and a pleasure to know you a little bit better. The same for everyone else that don't know you, and those who do know you, well, they know more. I also wish to thank you all for being there as always, and for being there not only today but every day following these interviews. And to follow Wouter's career and on his social media, I will include when I put it in YouTube, I will include all his social media and all his contacts, so you can just follow all the things that Wouter's been doing and will be doing in the near future. And well, next week we will be having international executive producer, writer, and film director Rhoda and Wainwright, who lives in Madrid. And have a great weekend, everyone. Be responsible. Don't forget your masks here in Spain. Maybe not in Holland, but here in Spain, yes. And please stay safe. Thank you again, Wouter, for this afternoon. Thank you so much.
For the conversation. I enjoyed. Hasta la próxima.
Hasta la próxima, si Dios quiere.
San Roque.
In San Roque. Yes. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.